landscape. For your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. Today, we're going to be able to dig into the ideas and the theories and the boots on the ground practice of agents and agentification and tuning up a team of agents to do work on your behalf. And lucky enough to have a conversation today with Andrew Christianson, whose initials actually come out to AI, which is hilarious. And Andrew builds browser-native, always-on agents at Gobi AI to handle prospecting, research, and operations. Leads RAAID, an open-source coding agent with roots in the intelligence community and engineering leadership at Hortonworks, Cloudera, and Fossa. Andrew focuses on agents that earn their place by shipping. We'll dig into how those agents become infrastructure that drives measurable marketing and revenue outcomes. And we're going to talk about how I make my agents better because I am a Gobi user and I've become a bit of a fanboy for Gobi. So thanks for coming on and talking to me today, Andrew.
Love it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, it's how did you get started in this funnel of AI, starting in probably before June 25, but it says June 25 on your LinkedIn.
Yeah. I've been pretty fascinated with incarnation of AI ever since GPT-3 was the big release where it was like, oh, this is actually useful for real world problems. And in those early days, it was more like I could see that it had potential for pattern matching, connecting dots between different complex data structures, but it was nowhere near what we have today. But yeah, even going back before that, I've been into like AI, ML, like the traditional stuff, like support vector machines and, the more primitive neural networks and things like that. So it's been a long time coming, but so I've been getting just, I created a little startup for content repurposing. It would turn videos into blog content. That was my first AI startup. And then for a while, I worked on this thing called Ficti, which is like interactive audiobooks that are generated on the fly. And then out of that came the coding agent. And then that got some visibility with some investors. And so here we are building VC-backed startup, which is Gobi. It's backed by the founder of GitLab.
Cool. I love it. And so I guess what's the current state of Gobi and what do you see happening with the agent platform in the next 18 to 36 months?
Yeah, that is such a great question because we are at an absolute inflection point. The capability today is probably 10x what it was a month ago, which is probably 100x of what it was a year before that.
Yeah. And
the models just keep coming. I know some people talk about a wall, some people talk about singularity. I would call myself like an optimist, but as just being on the ground level building a startup in AI, it's clear to me that for right now, the model drops just keep coming. And with each one of those, the Gobi team is working to extract the most productive value out of the language models. So right now, Gobi can do sort of like intern level work for you. So if you asked it to like go out on the web and find sales leads for your company, it could go and find individuals, it could get their email addresses, it could enrich that with background information, and then compile that all into a report or a CSV attachment and email it to you. A year from now, we'll be talking about much more complex use cases that it can actually do. And the one key thing here is it's not meant to replace work, it's meant to offload and save you time. So if you go to gobi.ai, the main header is start saving time. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I've found I think I've got 8 agents working right now, and uh, they've all like they'll go out and find podcast guests that fit my ICP, and then send an email to that individual with the scheduling link to have a meet and greet. Right, like that's pretty. It's a pretty cool thing to have working in the background.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. And the key thing that makes Gobi unique is that presumably you just told it that you wanted it to do that in the main input box, and you just click spawn worker, and it creates a worker that's running 24/7 in the background. And this is a big divergence from the big products like ChatGPT and Claude, because those ones you tell it what you want, it could do one pass, but it'll work for maybe 10 minutes and give you some results, but it's going to hang it up right there. Whereas Gobi will keep running in the background. So it could work for a week searching for these people and then just find much richer results for you.
Yeah. So I guess what I hadn't thought about before is that there's a big interaction with the LLM. So explain that connection and how that works.
Right. Yeah. So just a little context, because I'm not sure the technical level of our audience, but the
Marketers.
language.
We're not coders. We're marketers.
Cool. Yeah. So the language model is the actual brain. It's a neural network. It's called a large transformer. And neural networks, I went on a rabbit hole on this the other day. They actually go back to the 40s. That's when that idea
Oh, wow.
originally came about.
Yep.
And like in the 80s and 90s, they were kind of like, they showed some promise, but they were more a thing of sci-fi. So there was a lot of like sci-fi movies that would talk about neural networks. So the LLM is a large transformer, and the thing that makes it magic is the amount of compute and data that goes into the training. And the pessimistic description of the language model is that it's a next word predictor. So you have input text, which in the industry they would call that tokens, and then it goes through this complex neural network, which is bio-inspired. It's based on how your brain works, and then it has output tokens. So it's essentially predicting the next word. The researchers discovered that with enough compute and enough data, there was emergent behavior. So it started to show signs that it could actually do reasoning and planning and actually creating internal world models. And that's how you get what we call artificial intelligence. It's debatable whether what we have is actually artificial intelligence, but as far as I'm concerned, there is practical real world utility in these models. So Gobi is an agentic system, and essentially, just to keep it condensed a little bit, the output tokens are making function calls. So these are like actions that it can take in the real world, and it runs in a loop, taking in inputs, deciding what the next action is, and just iterating until it completes the task.
And so is it calling on Claude, or did you guys build your own LLM, or what's some of the infrastructure that way?
Yeah. So as a business, we're really careful not to depend too much on any individual supplier. So our system is completely pluggable. You can use whichever LLM you want. So if you wanted the most powerful results, you could use Opus 4.5 or GPT Codex 5.2. But it'll run on anything down to the smallest model it'll run reliably on is Minimax M2.1, which runs on 2 large workstation GPUs.
Gotcha. And is that something that your customers are choosing, or are you choosing it for them?
Currently, we just choose it for them, and that's based on basically managing costs. And our goal is to be a complete. Gobi is for everyone, essentially. So we are scaling all the way from free users. So we're a freemium model. So you can literally go on Gobi and just use it for free, all the way up to people who are willing to spend thousands of dollars per month per agent, not because we want to just make it expensive, but because some tasks require that much computation. So Gobi is meant to be literally for everyone and scale from the simplest tasks up to really complex tasks.
And then how do you help people sequence these really complex tasks? So versus just the lead hunter, which you have as one of your already deployable bots. But if I wanted to build a whole AP system, for instance, how would you help me do that?
Yeah, love it. That is a good question, and that is a question that is straightforward to ask, but the implementation of that could get really complex.
Sure.
So the traditional approach is process automation. So you have like RPA, and you have there's a lot of AI workflow systems where you kind of just like create building blocks and logic, and you're
Mhm.
essentially creating code. And then the AI works on just individual steps. So Gobi is different in that the mental model is that each one of these agents is a worker that runs all the time. So if you wanted to have sort of a process like that, what you would want to do is create an organization of AI workers and probably human workers in the mix, and they would collaborate together. And instead of programming it, it would be treat it more like I've hired this intern and I need to train them on what our processes are.
And then I guess how specific do you make each agents inside of that big standard operating procedure?
Excellent question. So this is one of you're touching on what is one of the greatest UX challenges with AI products, which is communicating where that line of complexity is beyond which the agent kind of falls apart, but on like essentially the scope that the agent can handle reliably. And for real world tasks, so if you're a business and you're trying to apply AI to just get work done, my recommendation is start with simple tasks, like automate the simple things first and then build up from there.
And like, what would some of those simple things be that you're recommending?
Right. So one could be like if you're prospecting, one could be like, okay, go and find go find the websites of companies that have 2 to 30 employees that are in whatever industry you're interested in, and find people in those organizations that meet a certain profile, and give me a list of those. Like that would be a task that an individual Gobi could handle really well.
Mhm.
So then let's say that you wanted to qualify the leads. I would actually create another Gobi that would receive the raw prospecting contacts that it finds, and then go and qualify those leads. And that's all that one would do. And this is similar to an organization. Think of it as like division of labor.
Right. Um, and then how do you create inside Gobi like the manager of these sequences?
Right. So there essentially is no manager. It's a canvas. And it's a blank canvas metaphorically, in that you just create workers and you can go into the settings and you can link them together. We have plans to really enhance the UX around that and make it so you shouldn't really have to go into the settings that much. But that's how you would do it today if you wanted two agents to talk to each other. And you can create, it doesn't have to be hierarchical. It can be arbitrary mesh interconnections between your agents. And part of the inspiration behind that design is looking at complex, like cellular automata. So if you think of like Conway's Game of Life, or another example is ant hills, like the behavior of ants. Like they have this thing called stigmergy, where an ant will leave a pheromone on the ground,
Right.
and you'll get complex emergent behavior through the entire ant colony. But it's based on very simple rules and very simple state, which is in a cellular automata, that's the cells, or in the case of anthills, that's the pheromones on the ground. So if you think of your system of Gobis, they have databases, they have functions, they can interact with the state of the real world, and they will sort of leave notes in the database, and they'll send messages in between each other. And you'll have a collection of maybe 3 very simple Gobis, but you might have complex emergent behavior by composing them into a team.
Interesting. What I found is that like I used a tool called Full Enrich to get enriched data. Like one of the agents will be really good at that, but then the other agents will have issues.
Mhm.
Same with like take it crawling and bringing it back to a Google sheet. Like one agent will be really good at it, and then the other ones will lose connection. So how do I manage that so that I keep that clean workflow?
Right. So a big thing is if there's there's limits to what AI can do. So sometimes it's a matter of maybe take that job that one agent is doing and split it into two until you have like very repeatable processes that are working. Sometimes these systems, these are really the most complex systems in the world. If you, especially if you consider the entire hardware stack behind it, we're at the forefront of this technology. And so a big part of it also is like, as far as AI tools in general, it's how fast is the team behind it iterating and creating quality R&D, and then what is their process for getting feedback and bug reports and addressing those. So in the case of Gobi, if you have a Gobi that is, one of them is really doing a great job and another one just seems to not be doing it, we're like a Discord channel, so we welcome people to like come onto our Discord and just tell us what it's doing, and we will take that internally and improve the product and ship releases. Sometimes we'll ship like 3+ releases in one day.
Nice. Not quite to the Amazon level of releases, but you're on it very consistently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also like if you're an enterprise and you want and need actual like stability, we do have options for that too.
Nice. Yeah. I met this guy named Kent Anderson who wrote a book called Designing Autonomous AI. Are you familiar with Kent?
No.
Okay, I got to connect you guys because you guys got a lot in common. But his premise is about making sure that you're teaching the agents at every stage, and that you're bringing in instruction back into the human in the loop part of the process with the agents.
I got you. Yep.
And so it was a cool conversation and a cool thought, and I'm trying to figure out how I would build a Gobi agent to help trigger the other agents into learning and accelerating that learning process. What are your thoughts on
that? Absolutely. So Gobis are self-programming, you could say. So and I use this personally all the time. So for instance, we put out a hiring post and we got all of these resumes coming in. So as they're coming in, I forward those to my hiring Gobi, essentially acting as a hiring manager. And that hiring manager will give me the full comprehensive report of all the candidates. It'll even do background research, give like red flags, green flags. Sometimes the agent will just make assumptions about my requirements for hiring. And so in Gobi, since these agents are learning and they're essentially self-programming, I can just reply to the email and say, okay, instead of candidates that look like this, I actually want ones that maybe are stronger on front end or stronger on infrastructure, or maybe I don't care if they have 20 years of experience, but I care more if they have some experience with Kubernetes, for instance. And the agent will take this in, essentially reprogram itself, and then the next batch, the next report it sends me will adapt to that. And so you just do that iteratively until it's like trained.
Right. That makes sense. And also thinking like, I mean, I'm pretty disciplined about creating custom GPTs in the source documents that I put into those custom GPTs in order to reference. How critical is that in the agent creation process?
Yeah, so that's a really great question, and that is getting into technology they call RAG, or retrieval augmented generation. And Gobi agents will just do research. So we have MCP support, and we have different integrations, so you can connect it to your Google, and so basically Gobi can just autonomously do that background research and get that sort of like information that it needs to know to do its job. Now, when you first start one up, it's pretty much a blank slate. So if you had, if you have a company with like an about page or documentation or something like that, you could just tell the Gobi, like, before you start working, go read this so you understand the context of my company and industry. But yeah, like uploading documents like that, that's a great idea. That's something that maybe we'd look at adding.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I love that because I do a lot of stuff around neuropsychology, and I have certain other core principles that I want to make sure are contained in any outreach, outbound work that I do. Um, so I think that we are going to be reaching an age where software is eliminated and agents are going to be replacing software. What do you think about that concept, Andrew?
That is fascinating. I I tend to agree with you. What does that look like? That's a big debate right now. So we've seen the rise of vibe coding. You mentioned Raid. That was a coding agent, open source coding agent that I developed. Does the future look like people using vibe coding tools or coding agents to create software, or do we just bypass that altogether?
Yeah.
And,
Why wouldn't we bypass that?
right. Yeah. I mean, I think that it's something like, it's to do with the level of technology, the level of capability. So if you think of like AI image generation, the early ones would make something that looks kind of like an abstract Picasso.
Right.
But
yeah, with 7 fingers and yeah.
yeah. But if you like ask Nano Banana Pro, the latest image generation, to create a human being, and it's going to look like an actual human being, and it's going to be pretty hard to discern that. So I think it's similar with software. So early code generation, vibe coding things, it requires more human supervision to make sure that that code actually works and does the right thing. And I think that's really just a question of capability. Similar, if you think of like self-driving cars, the early ones would, they could do lane centering or like automatic speed control. Now you can just go from a parking spot, give a destination, it start driving, and it will park you at the destination.
Right.
And the only difference is that the neural network and the hardware and the compute is to a level that it can do that repeatably and reliably. So if it gets to that point with software, yeah, maybe you just don't even have code as an intermediary format. Maybe it's just data in and data out. And that kind of is what Gobi is.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And it is this thing where we have a wearable device, even in our glasses, whatever, that is listening to us, and we give a command, and we ask for direction or give it something to do, and then the agent, the manager agent will send that task to whoever needs to go and do it, and then complete the task for us, and then alert us somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you never have to interact with all the hardware and software anymore. It's a voice command. And if you're Elon Musk, you're going to have it implanted in the back of your head, which I'm not excited about, but it is a cool technology for the people that don't have any other option.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I just keep thinking optimization is what you're describing. It's reducing friction, reducing steps, getting to the end result faster.
Yeah. Well, I guess what kind of users are you looking for right now in this stage of the company?
Everybody. Gobi's for everybody. So, a teenager who wants to make some money through like mowing lawns and pressure washing could use Gobi to say like, okay, find me some people, some customers in these neighborhoods. It's for that person. It's for the Fortune 500 who wants a whole set of, maybe they have 100 that are using the frontier models and they're connected into all the proprietary systems. It's for healthcare, it's for defense. So we're open core, we're open source, fully self-hostable. You can audit every line of code and fully verify what it does. And if you have compliance requirements, like if you're legal or healthcare or defense, you can, like I said, Gobi can run completely on a workstation with 2 GPUs. Now they're expensive GPUs, but you could essentially have a workstation in the corner that is running 20 to 50 AI agents, and your data it could be unplugged from the internet.
So you're saying a self-hosted, non-connected workforce.
Correct. And part of that is coming from, a background of open source, and part of that is coming from a background of defense, where these kinds of requirements were hard requirements for us. So
Right.
we're all experts in that on the Gobi team.
I love it. That is amazing. I mean, that's where it really does become infrastructure and not just a shiny object.
Correct. And also, if you think of competitive intelligence in the business marketplace, why should you be sending all of your proprietary knowledge, your competitive intel, straight to competitors potentially?
Yeah, exactly. Well, good. I got another contact for you. I got to connect you with. His name's Christianson. He's big on the security and LLM side too, and I think you guys will kick it off good too. Well, I really appreciate your time, and I'm grateful to you for spending it with me today. And I really enjoy all our conversations, Andrew. Thank you so much.
Likewise, it was great.
And make sure that there's contact information in the show notes, and people can track you down on LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest way, isn't it?
I'm everywhere. So I'm AI Christianson on all the platforms, and yeah, AI, that's my actual initials, Andrew. And then my middle initial is I. You can guess. Not many options there, but yeah, AI Christianson. I'm on X. I'm on, the whole Gobi team is on Discord. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere on the internet.
All right. Well, I'm sure you have some agents that are helping you with distribution, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. We're having just a growing collection of agents that are just running operations for us.
Well, I'd love to have you back on the show and to go through your agent stack. So
yeah,
if you're interested, awesome. I would love to see that, and it would help trigger people to think about the agents in a new way, since this is a cutting edge opportunity for us.
Yeah, it's fascinating. This is a inflection point in history. 50 years from now, we're going to look back, and this is going to be the rise of AI.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for spending time, and I'll talk to you again real soon.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Andrew. Well, what an inspiring opportunity to take a cutting edge technology and move from shiny thing into infrastructure. And I hope you found value in the conversation today. I know I sure did. And I am spending time every day with my agents, tuning them up and reimagining what I can do, what new things I can create or work that I don't want to do that I can offload, and to free up some of my time from creative things like completing a book called The Agentic Pivot, which is exactly what we're talking about today, about taking Gen AI and moving it from interesting into infrastructure. So I hope you got some value from our conversation with Andrew today. I hope you spend time finding a way for agents or one of the LLMs to win back some time from your work week, and that with that time you continue to upskill, that you spend some time with your friends and family, and that you get outside into nature, away from the screens. This is Emmanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel